and for his blessings. He has now come in our midst. He's with us. We don't see him as a spook. Right. That's right. He's no spook. He's a live man. He's a living God. I'm sorry that I have not asked you to sit down. You look so beautiful, and I don't want you to sit down.
And a guest, and maybe he could help me to convey a message to you. He's my friend. I like him a lot, and I'm going to tell you why I brought him in and why I think he's important to the future of you learning about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And his name is Yosef bin Asiel Israel. Salam alaikum.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom righteous and holy praise is forever due, we thank that great God for his coming to the wilderness of North America to raise up amongst us the first begotten from the dead. That special soul, I speak none other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. In those holy and righteous names, I greet you in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. We'll be right back after these quick commercials. Looking for something that feels good, looks great, and stands the test of time? Well, we have it for you. Black Royalty is our athleisure line that is made from the finest bamboo and cotton blend. We have designed high quality tracksuit and t-shirts in multiple colors that provide you the most comfort when you need it most. Whether you're in the gym or running errands or just lounging around with loved ones, you need to be in the best quality clothing as possible. We have constructed a high quality clothing line that does not break the bank, and we beat out all of our competitors on price. So please, if you're interested in being comfortable, not just in the gym, but when you're running around and doing errands, please visit blackroyaltywear.com. Also, you can find us on Instagram at Black Royalty. And if you have any questions or comments about our brand and how you can help participate, you can find us at blackroyaltywear@gmail.com. We'll be quick to answer your questions, and with our responses, we will be very thorough. So also, like I said, Black Royalty is for you because it was made by you with the intentions of serving you. So leave all those other clothing lines behind and get on what makes sense, something that's going to stand the test of time, because black don't crack. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back again to another installment of Know Thyself Radio Show, where we make it our business, our duty, our responsibility to give you nothing but the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, as so taught by God in person of Master Fard Muhammad. And as always, my brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure and an honor to come and bear witness to that truth. But as I say, and I have said before, whenever I have the opportunity to also have a witness bear with me on the line to further give and accentuate examples of the transformative power of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I take on that opportunity. And today, it pleases my heart to welcome a brother that I don't know personally as well as my previous guest, Brother Mandine. Again, I thank him for being on the show. Brother Jamil Muhammad. Two strong brothers in the faith of Islam, as so taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. But today, I know a brother, I have the opportunity to know a brother, though it may not be in the physical. It feels like I know his spirit. And I don't mean that in a spooky way, but because I have built over the past few years a strong relationship and bond with his father, the late great Brother Munir Muhammad. I have built a bond with his brother Jamil, his nephews, Jamil Munir Muhammad, Rashad, his uncle, Brother Halif Muhammad, the co-founder of Crow. I feel as I know this brother, and every time he comes to Chicago and he comes to Crow, I have the opportunity to just give him the greetings, embrace my brother. And in those brief moments that we share, it feels good. You know, you can feel the energy of a brother when you know his heart is true and sincere. And that's what I have today with me, the son of Brother Munir Muhammad, my brother, your brother, Brother Carlos Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Oh, sir, I thank you again for being on this show. This show was created and inspired by your father several months back before he made his transition, that he wanted to continue to create avenues and platforms that we can continue to push the message of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he knew in his wisdom that he needed witness bearers, especially in a younger age demographic, that could go out and talk and speak to the youth. And not one that was a Muslim soul by tradition, though I'm a Muslim by nature, but one who comes from a Hebraic understanding, one who has a father who's in the Hebrew Israelite community, who is very, not just popular and known, but very accomplished, Prince Asiel Ben Israel. And
Yes, sir.
for me to still, without any shame, unapologetically push the message of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad further shows that his message is a message for all black men and women who seek truth, righteousness, peace, and justice. And so him putting that seed in my head, he initially wanted it to be a show, a TV show. I said, okay, you already doing a show. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but let me create something that I can kind of develop my skill and polish myself in a way that if that time ever comes, if we decide to pursue it, I'll be more equipped and more prepared. But let me do something that I can be a little bit more comfortable with. And that's when the idea of the podcast came into existence. And he, from the outset, when I told him, he said, you don't have to push the messenger, but he said, you got to push the messenger if you really want to reach the people with truth. If you want to raise up the youth and inspire them in a way that is beneficial and advantageous for their freedom, this is the way to go. And for me, it was the only course of action. So that's how Know Thyself radio show came into existence, brother. So just wanted to give you that little background, because having you on the show, for me, further gives why your father was so insightful and was so inspiring, because your message, though, is unique and unorthodox to how most believers would traditionally see a Muslim follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as mine. The story is still the same. You know, once you fell in love with the messenger, I mean, when you got a true connection with the messenger, you couldn't do nothing but sing the praise and live in the way that he has directed us to live. So, brother, if you can,
Yes,
I can go on and on, but give the people just a brief synopsis on why you so important and why I have you as my guest today, and give them a little history of Carlos Muhammad. It's your time, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters out there. This is Carlos Muhammad, and I want to thank the brother for that great introduction. And I am honored to be a guest on his show. Well, a little bit about me is, like most people, I come from a Christian background. I was not raised up in the home with my father and my brother Jamil. So when I was first introduced to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I didn't understand, because I was, like most, I was going to church. All I knew was church. Bible study on Tuesday nights, choir practice on Fridays, Sunday school on Sunday, church on Sunday. So that's all I knew. That was my background. But my father, being the man that he was, he kept pursuing me to teach me the truth. And me being who I am, who I was at that time, I was rebellious against it. And we bumped heads occasionally, that we even stopped speaking to one another. But once I accepted who I am and buckled down and started studying the teachings and fell in love with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it was a no-brainer. I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, and that was at Crow. And I began to grow, brothers and sisters, and filled with knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And the only way to go is up from there. Once you get these teachings, you can't help but to go up. But I'm here to talk about me, plus my struggles with my health. In May of 2018, I suffered a massive stroke that kind of put me down as far as mobility wise. It didn't affect my brain or anything like that, or my speech as bad, but I was paralyzed on the left side of my body.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm not going to get too deep into details because I'll be on here forever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if I may, for a second, because that's so important, and I want to get to that sensitive subject,
yes,
but I like to take this timeline because you said something so important, brother, and I think my audience would definitely benefit. You talked about being inside of a Christian household and being indoctrinated by that Judo-Christian mentality that had you reject the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what your father was presenting to you. If you can, talk about a little bit how that was for you and how did that make you feel, and what age range did you come into really saying, hold on, I think my daddy know what he's talking about. Let me investigate this a little bit more. When did you get that awakening and say, okay, maybe what I was doing before wasn't the best for me?
Well, brother, I don't know if you know it or not. I started coming to Crow when I was, I guess, age around 17, 18, maybe 19. And I was still not convinced because I was still attending church. So I still wasn't quite convinced about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings. But I wanted to get closer to my father. And I always wanted to know what he knew. So I'm going to say maybe around the age of middle 20s, early 30s is when I really buckled down and said, I saw the love that my father had for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Teach.
And once I saw that love, I knew then that I wanted to be a part of this. And I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
No. I was going to say, was it anything in particular that you just noticed that was kind of different? Like you said, because your father's been who he is forever. So I'm pretty sure his message had never changed when he was showing you the teachings and really trying to bring you in. But what was it? Or was it a moment where it was just like, I get it? Was it with a specific thing or event or time or something he just said that just really resonated with you when you were saying, okay? Or was it something that your father did? Like you said, you admired him. It started off you just wanting to be around your father and be with your father, be like your father. What was it? What was that transformative moment, if there was one, that made you say, okay, I'm going all in with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, it was that part in the book, Message to the Black Man, about that, who is this mystery God? Because, by being in the church, they always say that, God is up in the sky looking down on us. And then my father started teaching me that there is nothing in the sky, 6 miles after the sky, but nothing. Something like that, I think that's what he used to say.
Yes, sir.
And that Message to the Black Man book really kind of opened my eyes, and I started reading more books. And so that's pretty much what it was. And then I started doing the research on my own, and I started watching the tapes of the messenger. But when I was that rebellious teenager, all I wanted to do was play football professionally. I didn't want to do anything else. I wanted to hang out in the street. I didn't want to learn nothing. And I have a really bad background, and then what I did was mostly I rebelled against the teachings because I was trying to please everyone else, because everyone else was going to church and screaming, go to the altar, get baptized. So I wanted to please everybody else instead of myself.
Yes, sir.
But I just got tired of that, and I was going to hell. I was actually in hell.
Teach.
In the church they tell you hell is underground. But no, hell is not a place. It's a condition. It's a condition of mind. I was in hell. And my father showed me that I was in hell, and he showed me how I can get to heaven. And once he showed me, and I really committed this time, because I came in and out of closed doors so many times, I can't even count. And I just didn't feel like I belonged. He's my father. I didn't feel like I belonged. Like I used to tell our brother Jamil, that I always had a belief of the teachings. I just didn't accept it at the time because of my upbringing. My father was always in my life, and he used to come pick me up on the weekend, take me to his house. And when I was younger, really young, before I was even a teenager, and he used to take me and Jamil into the living room and sit us in front of the TV and put a tape on of the messenger. Now, I didn't understand what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about at that time. So I really didn't pay attention to it. And so that kind of started my rebellious phase. I didn't want to go over to my daddy's house anymore because I didn't have fun over there. He was just sitting us in front of a TV and showing us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now Jamil, by being brought up in the house, he knew. So I kind of felt out of place. I felt like I didn't belong. Nobody made me feel that way. It's just the way I felt. Because I didn't understand what he was trying to show me at that time. So I had to wait until I fell into the bottomless pit of hell before I came to the understanding of what he had been trying to show me all along. But it was one thing that he told me that I'll never forget, and it's true. He said, once I get into these teachings, study, and accept it, that I will bring more people in with me. And I'm going to tell you, brother, that's all I've been doing, bringing people in, telling them about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just like my father did. And I am thankful for that, And I believe, I really believed myself, if I wouldn't have rebelled at the early age, because he used to ask me this all the time. If you would have accepted these teachings at an early age, what do you think you would do next? And honestly, I told him, I don't know, but God do what he please because he can. So I'm not going to say, in my own personal opinion, I don't think it was my time at that time to accept that. I was still going through my thing, doing my thing out in the world. Because I've been out in the world a long time, brother. And I've seen and done a lot of things. So, but now that I have that knowledge and understanding, nobody can come up to me and tell me anything to think I'm going to believe it. You got to show me proof. And people always ask me, I tell them I got the proof. I can show you. I can show you and I can teach you and I can read it to you. I can sell it to you however you want it. I can bring it to you. So it's been an amazing journey for me. And the journey isn't over yet. It's just begun, to be honest with you, brother.
Absolutely, brother. And once again, we're talking to Carlos Muhammad. As you can hear, man, a beautiful brother and strong believer of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the son of the great Munir Muhammad. And man, audience, please take heed to his words and his example, because as his story is being articulated, I think it parallels so many of our lives that we reject the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not due to the fact that it's not true, not due to the fact that it's not beneficial for us, not due to the fact that it doesn't have the power to make us greater than we were already currently being depicted as, bring us out of those, as he said, the bottomless pits of hell, to take us to the endless heights of heaven, but because we are afraid of being criticized and ostracized and demonized by our peer group and those who do not believe as we do, we reject the teachings. And as brother said, it tormented him. It destroyed him. When his father at a young age was planting those seeds that he would have a supreme knowledge and wisdom when he would come of age, he was judging his life based off what he heard his friends doing. They were going to the park and playing and riding bikes and sports, and he had to learn the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But as he said, once he realized the truth and he accepted it for himself, it's nobody that can defeat him. As he said, he can show you his proof. He can read it to you. He can point to the books and the tapes of the messenger that can answer all of the questions that befall the black man and woman in America and throughout the world. So it gives you a supreme confidence. And as you can hear in the brother's voice, he's confident. Why? Because he has a supreme wisdom and supreme truth. So thank you again, brother. So as you were saying, once you got into that understanding, how did that transform you and your father's relationship? How did that take it from one, I'm pretty sure, like tumultuous, kind of combative state into a more calm and peace and enjoyable time when you were with your father, especially years of age? Because every time your father would speak of you at the podium at Crow, he would always give us such beautiful words. And, you know, when you had that ordeal, which we'll talk about later, he broke down in tears because it pained his son to be in pain like that. You know what I mean? So he loves you dearly. Sir. He loves you dearly. And he made that evident and clear to anybody who he ever spoke to. So I'm pretty sure that I know what it did for him from how he expressed himself. At least I have an understanding. So tell me what that relationship shift did for you, brother.
Brother, it opened my eyes. It changed everything. He could see that I had truly accepted the teachings, and I was studying because I had questions. And I never used to ask questions or anything. And I could quote some of the messenger's words, because we didn't talk about this part, but when I used to come to Crow at a young age, and I used to see some of the brothers get up at the podium, and they were so articulate, and they would quote some of the messenger's sayings. They would quote scriptures out of the Holy Quran, and I just felt so bad that I couldn't do that, you know, because it wasn't in me. That's how I said that it wasn't in me. But my father told me, just because they can talk fancy, that doesn't mean that they know. So I think our relationship got closer once I accepted the teachings. And like you said, I know he loved me. He told every and anybody that. And he showed it in any kind of way, in all kinds of ways. But it made us closer. It made me understand him more. And I knew what he expected of me and what he wanted from me. He only wanted me to know the truth, and he wanted good for me, you know.
Yes, sir.
And yeah.
So I'm pretty sure as a son,
it made us.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
It made us so close, and we enjoyed each other as I got older than we ever did when I was younger.
Yes, sir. So I know as a son what they made you feel, but I'm pretty sure that probably help improve the relationships of you and your children. Because
Yes,
now
it did.
you can see both sides.
Yes, sir.
All praises due to Allah. All praises due to Allah. So I want to get to the point where now we had this terrible incident where you had the stroke, brother. So if you can you tell us, not like you said, you don't have to be in detail, but just tell us what happened, maybe, what you feel, how it happened, and then how we start to work ourselves into the point where now, as you can hear him, brothers and sisters, he sounds strong as ever. You couldn't tell that he had went through that ordeal of a stroke because he sounds so powerful, so boisterous, and so articulate. But brother, just give us that little history.
It went like this. It was May 27th. I think it was the Memorial Day weekend or whatever. And I was on my front porch frying fish because my father gave me the idea, invite people over to watch the show and sell some fish sandwiches or fish plates. So I actually was doing that, frying fish, and it started with I felt a little nauseous and I was sweating profusely. So I came in the house and I saw my wife and she said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, I'm just sweating. I can't stop sweating. So she got me a cold towel and put it on my head and whatnot, tried to cool me down, and went to bed that night. And she was talking to me, and my speech, she couldn't understand a word I was saying. And so as I was trying to get out of the bed to go to the restroom, I couldn't move my left side. I just kept falling over. And she never been through this type of ordeal before. It's lucky that her kindness kicked in, her intuition. She knew something was wrong with me because she know me. And she called the ambulance, and they said that she called right on time. And they got me to the hospital, and then they had to airlift me to another hospital where people specialize with stroke survivors. And it was a scary ordeal. They didn't think I was going to make it. And she called my father as I was in the hospital, and he was hurt because he was like, I finally got my son back and this happened. Because they didn't think I was going to make it.
Yes, sir.
He always reminded me, remember who brought you back from this. And I do remember. I know it was Almighty God, Allah.
Teach.
And they say that he kept me here for a reason. There's something for me to do, and I will know what it is when it happens. So that's pretty much what it was. And what it was, the type of stroke I had it's called an ischemic stroke. And what that is when the blood vessel going to the brain is blocked by a clot. So that's what it was. I had a blood clot in one of my blood vessels going to my brain. So blood wasn't getting to the right side of my brain. So cells started dying, and the part of the brain that controlled the speech, the left arm and left leg, all that was damaged. So I was in the hospital for about almost 2 months recovering, and they started me on therapy. Once I got out of ICU and CCU and things like that, they started me on my therapy because they say the sooner you start, you can get your movement and everything back. So I stayed in the hospital about 2 months doing therapy. Then I went home, started doing in-home therapy. Then I started doing outpatient therapy. But, they say I reached a plateau. But in other words, my insurance stopped paying for so many visits. So I had to do some research myself. So, social media is just so amazing. I joined this group. It's called Stroke Survivors, young stroke survivors, and it's people on there to talk about their ordeal, what they went through, and things they're trying to do to get back to being independent. And so as I started watching those things, I started doing therapy at home myself. You know that old saying is, you don't use it, you'll lose it, and it's true when it comes to surviving a stroke.
Teach.
Because when you survive a stroke, we don't like to be called stroke victims. We like to be called stroke survivors. And for your listeners out there, ischemic strokes are the 87% of the strokes that most people have, and it has a lot to do with what we eat. You know, growing up eating so-called soul food, the fatty foods, and stuff like that, and you get the high cholesterol and the diabetes and the blood pressure, high blood pressure. So it starts with that. If you can control what you eat and eat only the right things, you can. It's other reasons to have a stroke too. Like me and my brother, we talked about this. The only type of stroke that we ever heard of was a heat stroke. When we were children, we used to come to Birmingham, Alabama to visit our grandmother, and she used to tell us, stay out of the sun or you're going to catch a heat stroke. So that's all we knew. But there are a lot of things that can have a stroke. Like I just recently, this is my 3rd week going to the gym, working out, trying to build muscle. But it's more than just building muscle. You got to build a connection from the brain, from the part of the brain that's not damaged, to take over for the part that was damaged, to get your arm and things back moving. So repetition is important. You just can't sit around doing nothing. You got to keep doing. Even if I I can move my left arm up and down, but my left hand, I can't make a fist. I can't grab anything. But even though I can't do that, I always try, because that's sending signals to my brain. He's trying to grab something. So as long as I keep doing that, eventually it will, I will be able to grab something. So it's just a lot. So I'm glad I'm on your show, because I'm starting a YouTube channel, because anybody that knows me know that cooking is my gift, my first love. It's something I always wanted to do. Now I'll probably never be able to get into a kitchen again as far as professionally, because it's kind of fast moving, but I can still cook at home. So they have things, they have devices that, like I have a cutting board, a one-hand cutting board. They have devices that you can use that can help you get close to being independent again. I started back driving a few months ago, so things are looking up really good. And you just gotta, at first I had the problem, depressed, because I couldn't go when I wanted to go. I couldn't move when I wanted to move. Because I've always been the person like my father, always on the go. And that came to a stop. And I was depressed about that. I'll be 50 years old in 3 months. And I was telling my brother that I don't know what to do with my life, and I shouldn't be saying it at this age. As far as career-wise, I can't do the physical work anymore. I didn't want to get back into school because I don't want to have to do no homework, and then I don't want to high student loan paying off at 60 and 70 years old. So I've been trying to find things of interest that I can take up in online, for free, or some of these, programs they got out here. I've been taking advantage of that and try to, I have to change my career, change what I'm going to do with my life.
Yes, sir.
I've been working on that, but there's this acronym that everybody should have, and they can find it if they go to the American Stroke Awareness website. The acronym is called FAST, and what it means, the F means these are signs of stroke, somebody having a stroke. The F means if one side of your face is drooping. It can be your left side or your right side. And then the A is for weakness in your arm. It can be your left arm or your right arm. And then the S is for your speech. You know, if your speech is slurring, your words are not coming out correctly, or if you ask somebody to smile and their smile is crooked.
Mm-hmm.
And then the T is for time to get to the hospital, call the ambulance, because if the person have a stroke and the blood is not getting to that side of the brain that the stroke is affecting, you have like between 2 to 4 minutes, especially for an ischemic stroke. You have 2 to 4 minutes to get to the hospital so they can, if you have a blockage, they'll give you this, it's called a TPA. I'm not sure what does it mean, but it's clot buster. It'll bust the clot so the blood can start back flowing, because the more you wait, the more brain cells are dying. And you don't want to do that, because some people don't come back from that. And I think that's what saved me. I got to the hospital in time to get that TPA.
All we can say, brother, is God is Allah.
Yes, sir, He is.
And Allah is great, the most beneficent,
Yes,
the most
sir.
merciful. Brother, when I hear your story, as you said, as a survivor, it shows that nothing is impossible when you connect it to truth, to God and His messenger. Like you said, things were going up, and some people look at it like, oh, just as soon as he was building a relationship with his father and things were going on the upside, he was getting stronger in the teachings, he had this, and they would lose faith. They would take that as a sign as not to be a believer or not to continue down that road. But you took on your test, brother, and you passed it, because it did nothing but fortify and strengthen your belief in Almighty God and His messenger, brother. And this is why I'm so happy I have you on the show, because you are so inspiring, brother, to me. And I pray that you inspire those who have the ability to hear your words today and in the future. This is such a beautiful thing, sir. This is such a beautiful thing. And as we start to wind down a little bit, I want two questions. The first, again, like you said, you're getting your strength back, but we lost our brother, your father, our friend, our teacher in a lot of ways, as it relates to pointing us to the master teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Allah. How was that period for you? And how has that kind of motivated you going forward, if that's something you want to speak to?
You talking about when we lost him?
Yes, sir, when we lost.
Oh, man. It hurt me for a while. Actually, it actually still hurts me. But a lot of people thought I was going to backslide. But I didn't backslide. I just could remember the word to you. He would say to me, make sure you're studying and ask questions if you need to. So all it did was just put in me what he had put in me. It made me stronger. It made me want to learn more. And like I tell people, my father left me enough material so I wouldn't backslide. And I would always have the truth in my reach, whether it was a book, a tape, or anything like that. And I still watch my brother on the show when he brings it and everything. And then I talk to my brother, especially when I'm feeling down. I call him and let him know how I'm feeling, and he talks to me, you know. So we kind of do each other like that. We both have those moments where we just, man, I miss my father. I wish he was here. I need someone to talk to. So we'll call each other and talk to each other. And
yes, sir.
you know.
No, I thank you for that.
I'm looking forward to Founders Day.
All praises be to
I
Allah.
really am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to having you, brother. Man, we look forward to
Yes,
having you.
sir.
And again, the reason I even brought that up with your father, because again, that's another excuse that people could have used, and justifiable, to backslide, like you said, to go back into the world, to go back on your heels. But you use that as a form of inspiration and motivation to continue. Like you said, all you would hear is your father telling you, stay true, study, keep on with the messenger's teachings, keep on in the belief in the way of Almighty God Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. You know, and again, this is why you are so inspiring, brother, because you got trial after trial after trial, tribulation after tribulation, and you didn't let that, or you didn't use that as an excuse not to be a believer. And that's why you are on this show for me, brother, and that's why you are so inspiring to me, because again, this is a testimony of what the teachings, if you truly accept it. I'm not saying if you just interested in them or just some points that the messenger has given you that you connect to, but I mean if you totally immerse yourself in those teachings, you have this type of strength, confidence, and endurance to withstand and last all of what this world could bring to you. So, brother, my last question as we get ready to close out. Again, I want you to tell the audience about your YouTube channel that you're developing. Where can we find you? And if you got anything else coming up that we need to be looking forward to, that we can continue to stay in contact with you and watch your growth and development. And we can help you. Tell us how we can help. Like you said, with the YouTube page, you get into creating this culinary arts and recipes. How can we support you, brother?
Okay, as far as the YouTube channel, I haven't started it yet. I've been getting things together, but it's gonna be my Carlos Muhammad. It may be someday, I may have a live show with me using the utensils that I have to cook, but it'll be some video. I'm gonna upload some videos of me doing my exercises and things I do to keep moving, and just my improvement, just to see my progress from where I was, talking about from where I was to where I am now, and how much more I got to go. And if you really want to support stroke survivors, go on Facebook. There's a group called Young Stroke Survivors. They don't look for money or anything. Most people just like, motivation, somebody to talk to about, and somebody to listen to their story, and some good people in the group and it's young people. You wouldn't believe people 19 years old are having these type of strokes. But once I got doing research, and I found out a lot of it is because of what we put in our body. So the Messenger's book, How to Eat to Live, Part 1 and Part 2, play a big role in my recovery. It's my diet. I haven't eaten pork in years though, but it ain't just pork, like all the fried foods and the snacks and the cookies and stuff like that. Things that are not good for us. What the messenger talks about. These things, what he say, like we get most of the sickness comes from what we put in our body. And we have to take care of our body. We have to take care of our body. So I just want everybody to know that a stroke doesn't care what color you are, how old you are. If you're not taking care of your body, and never happened to me, but it did. And in a way, I'm kind of happy that it happened to me, because now I can help someone else, and that's what I want to do. I just want to help someone else, and let them, and those that are suffering out there or going through some things, don't give up. Just don't give up. Just keep fighting. You survived. Be happy about that. You survived. Just keep striving. Keep going, and you'll be all right.
All praises.
And I want to thank you again, brother, for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, brother. Again, I want to thank Brother Carlos Muhammad for this beautiful opportunity. And I pray that God continues to strengthen this brother. Continue to enlighten this brother. Continue to elevate this brother so he can continue to fulfill his destiny and the will of creating this heaven on earth as so taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thank his brother Jamil Muhammad, who helped facilitate this wonderful interview and has been a big brother and doing a magnificent job with the Munir Muhammad Show and the Muhammad and Friends, which can be shown live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. as well as 2:30 p.m. on Sundays from YouTube, Facebook, Ustream, and a number of other streaming platforms. I want to thank the members of Crow, the co-founders, Brother Shaheed Muslim and Brother Halif Muhammad. And I want to give a special thanks to the man who brought us all together, Brother Munir Muhammad, who was that strong and beautiful soul who inspired this show, who birthed our brother Carlos Muhammad, raised him to be such a great man that he is today. And Almighty, most importantly, Almighty God Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and his messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thank you again for listening. Until next time, I leave you in the words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. Once again, I want to thank our beloved brother, Brother Carlos Muhammad, for coming on and bearing witness to that truth. And it was a beautiful, beautiful story. And those type of stories, those type of testimonies should not be taken for granted, nor should they be taken lightly. And so that's what we want to do here on Know Thyself Radio Show. We want to bring on guests, but not just anybody just for the sake of conversation, but bring on those who, one, have a connection to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, but can also use that connection, use their experiences, use their knowledge to benefit the listening audience in a way that can help expand their horizon. And so we're going to continue to bring you more guests as we go into this new year, this new decade, and really push this message. You're going to hear a lot of commentary from me taking on political events, tying it in directly to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because as I said before, we're going to always use the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to give not just relevance, but a clear and concise picture going forward. Because we believe his message to be true. We believe his message to be exact. We believe his word to be taught directly from God himself, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. So stay tuned, brothers and sisters, to Know Thyself Radio. Stay tuned for all of the magnificent things that we have on the horizon, and be a part of this process. As I said, all I want to do is give the truth unadulterated to our people so that we can be whole again and we can be in our original mind, our original selves, and building a world that is uninfluenced, uninterrupted, and undisturbed from the enemy. I thank you for listening as I leave you again in the words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.